What is up, my peeps? Hey, look, it is Monday, July 1st. I love when it's a Monday and it's the first of the month, but that's not why you're here. You're here because we're going to talk about content. We're not just going to talk about content, though. We're going to talk about how to beat algorithms. So this isn't going to be super technical. You don't have to learn all kinds of crazy science stuff. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to be focusing on in order to kind of hack into Facebook's algorithm, YouTube's algorithm, and Instagram's algorithm. So real quick, before I jump into the details, give me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button. I'm getting better at this. I think it's over here. That really helps me to beat YouTube's algorithm, because a big chunk of YouTube's algorithm is, first of all, see, we're already jumping into it. First of all, subscriptions, the number of people subscribing to your channel. The second part of their algorithm is the amount of time being watched. So please do me a huge favor, watch this to the end. Even if you don't pay attention, just let it play to the end. It really helps me out. And if this is valuable, watching this to the end will make it so that other people can see it, so that then they can get the advantage of understanding how this stuff works. Now, keeping on track with YouTube, since that's where we started, subscription, watch time, and then the third piece of that is interaction in the comment section. And the fourth part is likes. Now, the thing is, that YouTube's a little interesting because YouTube really wants to see that your subscription numbers, are growing, and that the amount of time being watched is also growing, so that more and more of the minutes you're putting out are actually being consumed. And then the next part of that is comments. And the thing with YouTube that's really interesting is there's not really a whole lot of monitoring by the algorithm going on about the comments. So people could literally go on there, and as long as the comments aren't repeatedly the same thing, the algorithm just wants to see that people are interacting. Now, that fourth part being likes, YouTube actually will their algorithm's a little funny this way, but the like and the dislike give the same kind of boost to the algorithm, because YouTube wants to see, unless all of the video is just dislike, 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 YouTube actually wants to see that it's about equal. Because that means that it's relevant to the target market, and that it's not relevant to the people who are not part of that target market. So then YouTube's algorithm will make sure that the content, this video as an example, is showing up to more of the kinds of people that liked it and less of the people that disliked it. So that over time, even if it's equal, what will end up happening is the algorithm moves it so that the likes keep going up and the dislikes will go up only a quarter as much. Now, jumping into Facebook's algorithm, the way Facebook wants to do this is they changed everything last year in 2018, and the way they changed it was they're looking for meaningful dialogue. They want to see that people are talking back and forth. So if you have a business page and you had a lot of engagement prior to this change, they found that 50% of business pages were losing 50% of their engagement almost overnight. And that's because a lot of pages were basically just getting a lot of likes, or they were like just resharing it across multiple business pages. And Facebook said, hey, look, if a business is going to be relevant, we want to see that their customers are commenting and that the page is replying, and that also other people are replying. So in order of importance on Facebook, this starts with comments. Second most important is replies. So the business page replying, but also other people replying to that. The third part of that is likes and reactions. So, any of the smiley faces that you can now do. And then the last part is reshares. And they want to see basically that you're creating content that enables people to talk about it. So as a business owner, let's say you run a page doing real estate, or you do, any number of things really. You could run a hot dog stand. You want to be thinking about this when it comes to creating content, which is, how can I create a conversation around what it is we're talking about? In the example of real estate, maybe saying something that is completely outside of context. Instead of doing what most people are doing in real estate right now, which is posting pictures of houses, maybe talk about the reasons why people shouldn't buy a house. And if you're watching this in the month of July 2019, interest rates are really good right now, right? And a lot of places have an excess of inventory, so buyers have negotiating power. It's actually a really good time to buy a home. So one of the ways that you could create conversation is by doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. Now, here's the thing. That's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be weird, especially as a real estate agent or a broker. You're going to say, hey, look, I don't want to tell people not to buy a house because I want them to buy a house. Well, the thing is, when you take the time to say things that are outside of what is normal for people to see, it actually engages them more, because then they're wondering why. And anything you can do that creates questions in your customer's mind is going to get them engaged at a higher level, because now they're actually engaged, right? As opposed to posting a picture of a house. They're going to see it, they're going to be like, wow, that's a pretty house, and they're going to keep moving. If it's a pretty house, right? If it's not a pretty house, it's just an okay house, they're not even going to acknowledge it. So doing things like that, or the hot dog stand example, right? Posting something talking about how awful hot dogs are, and then transitioning so that people can read in the comments. You could literally just put in parentheses, our hot dog recipe in the comments below will shock you. Then putting it in the comments allows people to then click on it and look at the comments, and they say, oh, wow, everything in this hot dog is ethically sourced, brand, like organic, and use pigs and cows and whatever that are used for the hot dogs are made this way. So you're getting people engaged in a different way. Anytime you're going to be posting content, you need to be thinking, how can I do something that everybody else isn't doing? Because like with the real estate example, I've looked at over 1,000 real estate websites and social media profiles, and I'm here to tell you they're all doing the same thing you might be doing right now, which is posting pictures of houses that are either for sale or that were just sold or that are just back on the market, and really not adding any personality to it. Like, you're not doing anything that's interesting. You're just trying to get people to buy stuff. And the thing is, yes, you want them to buy things, but you also need to understand that if the customer comes first, that the most important thing you can do in order to move them from just being somebody out in the internet to actually being a customer is to engage them in a way that is meaningful. Hence, Facebook changed their algorithm. Now, Instagram is a little bit tricky. Instagram works a lot differently, and the kind of marketing you want to do there is quite a bit different than what you might see on YouTube or Facebook in one aspect. And that one aspect is that the most profitable way to hack the Instagram algorithm isn't going to necessarily even be your content. It's going to be people with 10 to 100,000 plus followers sharing your content. So Instagram, the way their algorithm is set up, they want to see that other people are talking about you more so than you are. Now, that doesn't give you a get out of jail free pass where you don't have to post content. You still need to be posting content 1 to 3 times a day on Instagram. But the thing is, the easiest way to hack Instagram's algorithm is to get a group of either micro influencers, which are people with the 1,000 to 10,000 range, which typically you can do this very affordably. I have a couple of friends that are makeup bloggers and Instagram, like up and coming Instagram models. And the way that they get paid is very different than people who are in the 10,000 plus range. They get paid maybe $20 to $50 for 2 to 3 or 4 posts. Now with the 10,000 plus range, you're looking at paying $50 to $1,000 for a post or 2. So utilizing that is really easy though, because you're in a position that there's no market standard. So you can say, hey, look, who is my target market? Who are the kinds of people that are going to use this? Let's go find the people that they look up to on Instagram. Who are they paying attention to? And to get a little bit more into the details, just to make sure I'm being helpful for you guys, is, when you go to somebody's page, they have, let's say, 3,000 followers. Their target market is interested in them. You want to go and actually look at the engagement on their posts. Because if they have 3,000 followers, but they're only getting like 3 to 10 likes per post, that means that they bought those followers and they're not actually following them. They're just fake accounts. I actually know somebody, I'm not going to name names. It's a friend of mine. He has 60,000 followers on his Instagram. But if you click on followers and go and look, they're all somewhere in the Middle East. They're all like Indian and Pakistani and all this stuff. And the thing is, like, he doesn't know any of these people. They don't know him. And I don't even know if any of these people actually exist. If you click through to a bunch of these people, It's like one post on their page and there's no other people following them. So it isn't hard to make it look like you have a lot of followers. The thing is, it doesn't help you any to have a lot of followers if they're fake, because first of all, they can't buy from you because they're not real people. Second of all, Instagram's algorithm expects there to be some level of engagement back and forth. So when you are adding these fake followers, what ends up happening is if somebody goes to your page and they don't really do any investigative work, they'll probably think, wow, this person's got a lot of followers. But if they actually look around, you know, they have 60,000 followers, but they get 100 likes per post, they probably only really have 1,000 real followers. The easiest way to hack Instagram, to be 100% clear, is post consistently, so 1 to 3 times a day. Take advantage of stories and Instagram TV. Instagram TV is basically like Instagram stories, but instead of being 15 seconds or 10 to 15 seconds a piece, you can do videos for like 2 to 10 or 15 minutes at a time, and then post it, and then actually add it to your story, or not your story, your timeline as well. So post consistently. Also make sure that you are engaging with people who are in that micro influencer space, that 1,000 to 10,000, and then that 10,000 plus space, depending on the size of your business and what you can actually afford to pay for. The thing is, getting your target market correct is the most important part in all 3 of these, because if you understand who your target market is, you can always make sure that only the right people are seeing it. And if the wrong people see it, they're just going to either dislike, so YouTube knows not to show them your content, or they're just not going to engage, which will kind of over time remove them from the people that are seeing your content. Now, this last part, I just want to go over with you guys ideas for content, ways to think about this so that you have a way. Because one of the problems I run into a lot of times when I talk to people about posting on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever it is they're trying to put their content out, they're always like, how do you come up with so much content? How do you have so much stuff to do all the time? And the thing is, I actually don't have that much more than anybody else. What I do is I have 2 exercises I do on a weekly basis that make sure that I have more content than I could ever do anything with. And then I repurpose a lot of content. So the first exercise is on a Saturday or a Sunday, whenever it works for you, or whatever day of the week you want to do this. Just grab one of these yellow notepads like this, number it from 1 to 20, and write ideas for content until you have 20. That's an easy way to make sure you always have more content than you can do anything with. Excuse me. And the other thing about this is it gives you insight into how much you know, because as a professional, you get used to doing things so many times that you become unconsciously competent. You're able to do it without thinking about it, like tying your shoes. Now, the thing is, you know that you know those things, but you don't know that you know them until you have to put them into use. So using the yellow notepad and writing ideas out allows you to see, wow, I do actually know a lot more than I think about. If somebody just asks, you know, why don't you post content? And you're like, I don't know. So that's one exercise. The other exercise that I do is I have a ideal client avatar. It's about a page long that I literally have described in detail the exact kind of person that I want to be selling to. So anytime that I'm struggling, I like to do this at least once a week. Even if I'm not struggling, I will read through it and I will ask the question, what problems does this person have that I am capable of solving, and how can I solve those? And then I do the same thing where I write out what their problems are and what the solution are, and then I try and find ways to create content around that. Now, if you are somebody that is running a YouTube channel, or you are wanting to, the reason YouTube is so valuable is because if you at least know ahead of time, okay, I'm going to hit on these 3 points, everything else is going to be filler, then you know, okay, I can take that video, put it on YouTube, and then I can take the good chunks out and repurpose those across all of my other social, so that not only can I use those for content there, but I can use those to drive my subscription and my engagement rates on YouTube. When it comes down to all of this, really, you just want to make sure that you always have more content than you can do anything with. That way you're never running into a spot where you're like, I don't know what I should talk about today. I don't know what I should post today. I don't know what I should do. And quick bonus tip, there are tools out there like Hootsuite and Buffer, and I'm sure there's others, that you can actually schedule your content. So if you don't want to post on a daily basis, you can schedule it in there. It'll automatically go out for you. The only one that doesn't always is Instagram, because the dimensions have to be exactly correct for it to auto post to Instagram. Otherwise, it'll just send you a reminder and you have to open up your phone and repost it. Now, before I finish this off, do me a huge favor. If this has been useful, if this has been valuable, click the subscription button, the subscribe button, and leave me a comment below. Let me know if this has been useful. Let me know if this is complete garbage and you're like, yo, dude, I don't need your help. I already know all this. That's fine. Just throw it in the comments. Let me know. And if there's something that you're struggling with, throw that in the comment, and either I will make a video about it or I will directly reply to you in the comments. Now, this last part is really the ultimate part of creating content, which is understanding your market, which I've already gone over, but also understanding what it is that you actually want to bring to the market. What is the value, right? So as an example, using the real estate example, let's say you are the kind of person that you're like, I am really good at working with people in the $300,000 to $500,000 range. I'm really good at working with people who may not qualify for a normal program. I'm really good at working with people who are moving across state lines. I'm really good at working with people who are blank. Using that gives you some leverage, because then also what that does is it really niches down what you're doing, so that if somebody sees it, they're like, oh, well, I want to buy it in the $800,000 plus range. They won't pay attention because they're not going to be able to get the value that they would need. But if you're in that 300 to 500 range and somebody's like, man, I want to buy a house, but I don't know where to start. I don't have the tools necessary. I don't know what the programs are. I don't know how to do this. They would be able to watch a video and be like, wow, this has been really useful. And the thing is, you're never going to go broke by giving too much away. There's going to be people that are going to try and do it on their own, sure. But the thing is, the majority of people are going to say, man, this guy took so much time, or this girl took so much time to put this together so that I could understand it very easily. They took the time to do this. Like, that's the kind of person I want to work with, because they're willing to do this, not knowing whether or not I'm ever going to watch it, not knowing whether or not I'm ever going to buy a house from them. They just did it because it was the right thing to do. So when you are looking at putting content together, the thing you got to remember is your competition, for the most part, 90+% of your competition aren't going to do these things. They're just not. I don't know why the world is the way it is. I can't tell you. It just is the way it is. Most people are going to do the bare minimum, and that leaves a huge, huge window of opportunity for the kinds of people who are like, hey, look, if I don't do this, somebody is going to buy from my competition, and they're not going to get the kind of experience. They're not going to get the kind of value, and they're not going to get the best deal they possibly could if they work with somebody else. That doesn't mean you're arrogant. That doesn't mean you think you're better than everybody else. It just means that you know what your specific value is. You know, hey, look, if I help these people, they're going to get this, 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 and this. They're going to have the best buying experience of their life. They're going to just be happier, more fulfilled. They're going to go from where they are to where they want to be, from having emotions they don't want to have to having more of the emotions they want to have, from not living the dream to living the dream. Like, understanding that gets you into a position that when you're creating content, you always know this group of people are going to be helped more by what I'm doing than by anybody else that's in my competition. Now, with all of that being said, it really starts with a video that I made last week. It's called How to Identify Your Ideal Client and Sell Like Hell. I will throw the link in the description below, so if you haven't watched it, you can go over there and watch it. I actually outline exactly how to identify your ideal client, exactly how to identify the one thing that you need to focus on with regards to your personal value to the marketplace. And I give you an overall method for taking those two pieces of information and utilizing it, running Facebook ads, and utilize it for making content. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, I highly recommend clicking the link in the description to go watch that video, because that is honestly, in my opinion, more important than everything I just shared with you right now about the algorithm. Knowing the algorithm is intelligent to do. Knowing the ideal client and the value you bring to the market is wise, right? So there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing how things are. Wisdom is knowing how to make them work for you. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, do that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know how I can help you in your business. I work mostly with people in real estate, but the thing is, marketing is basically the same across the board. It's just different products and services, right? Everything essentially is, how do we get people to take action on something? And really that just comes from a deep understanding of your market, yourself, your product, your service, and then understanding some of the tech around this so that you can then take advantage of how that technology works to better serve your clients and to better serve your business. Anyway, everybody, I'm out of here.